Are there truths in wealth dynamics? Actually, there's 7 of them. And one of the first things that I learned when I was at Cambridge is that when you are talking about anything complex, anything which has got multiple levels, the first thing to do is to be clear on the agreement on what the truths of those levels are. Why? Because all of our learning and everything that we actually get into flow in happens as a result of us having that learning at the level of our truth. Which basically means that if someone's telling you something with a basic assumption you don't agree with in the first place, you're not even going to listen. I'll give you an example. Let's say you said to someone, pigs can fly. Well, if your paradigm is that pigs can't fly, it doesn't matter how I then explain pigs flying, you're not really even listening. You're like thinking, I don't even believe that in the first place. But if I actually started by saying that there's an airline that actually has decided that they will, as part of their hand luggage, allow you to carry pigs, well then from that point you'll go, oh, you know what, I'm willing to accept that, because what I've just brought into the equation is a truth, which is that aeroplanes can fly. Now, that's fine and good if you know that airplanes can fly. But if you've gone back 500 years or 1,000 years, you would find that people back then would actually believe that pigs can fly a whole lot easier than airplanes can fly. Bottom line is that as time goes on, our collective truths change. And the wealth dynamics spectrum and the wealth dynamics profiling is all about the fact that we are going through a massive change in truth about the way we live our lives, about our ability to actually survive outside of the corporate environment, to actually be entrepreneurs. So I want to go through these 7 levels, and as you're sharing wealth dynamics with other people you know, be clear on what level of truth there is. Don't try and argue the truth. Just get people to accept whatever truth it is they're happy with and start from there. First truth, very simple, which is we play different games. Within wealth dynamics, there's different games to play. Bill Gates makes his money different from Oprah Winfrey, different from Warren Buffett. So the first thing is, when it comes to flow and wealth, there's different games to play. And it's when you focus at the right game for long enough, you're actually going to get the result. The reason I say that is that some people won't even believe that. Some people believe that people who are wealthy are born lucky. People who are wealthy are basically born into the money. People who are wealthy, you can never earn your way there. You know, you're going to have to just keep on working and slogging it out for the rest of your life. Most people do. And if you believe that, don't even get them to take the test. But if someone says, you know what, I'm willing to believe that there are different games, the second thing would then be, well, make sure you know what the games are. There are people who take the test. And they'll say, I don't think that's me. I'm not sure if I'm a deal maker or am I really a mechanic? Maybe I should do the test again, find out if I'm something different. Look, if someone is not willing to believe the second level, which is not that we play different games, but there is a personal game which is right for you. Someone says, I don't even know, maybe I can play all the games. Go back to number 1 and says, well, forget about actually even what your profile tells you. Do you agree that if you played one game well, you would end up being more successful than trying to play a bunch of different games? And the answer is yes, and it's like, then forget about the profile and just decide which game you want to play. Someone says, no, I definitely agree that I can actually see which one it is from the answers I give to the questions that are given, that I'll know exactly which line I'm at. Then fine. Then at that point, you say, then here's the payoff. The payoff of the second level is you get certainty. You don't on the first level. First level, okay, am I right playing this game? I'm having some tough times. Maybe I should go play another game. You go through life running from one game to another. Whereas at the second level, you know, no, football's my game. Football's my game. If it's not going well, I'll still show up again tomorrow because football's my game. And because you get that clarity, you're a creator or you're an accumulator, you know which role models to follow, you know how to persevere now. And then from that second level, some people would go, great, I'm going to go out, just going to learn how to play that game. But then they'll be missing something even bigger, which is the third level. And the third level is that the more you play your game, the more you get into flow. Now, this is about our learning not coming from reading books, but our learning coming from the action of actually playing the game. And so there'll be some people who says, I don't believe that. I think that flow's luck. I think that, you know, once in a while I might get in flow, but it's going to be hard work most of our life. Fine, stay at level 2 and just keep playing the game that's right for you and make it hard work if you'd like to. But if you're willing to accept that at the next level up, you get into flow, the payoff of that is that you'll keep persevering to get into that level, because as you start to master the game and as it becomes second nature to you, you will find that at that level, you now start to love your life. You start enjoying everything you're doing and nothing feels like hard work. You might be applying yourself more. You might even be working harder, but it doesn't feel that way because you're now actually doing the things you're meant to do and creating flow within your life. Some people are willing to go there and think, that's exactly what I want. But then someone will say, what's the next level above that? And at level 4, you say that above just creating flow, when you create flow, you start to now attract all the resources you need. So just like someone who's in the zone in the game of football, people will start kicking them the ball more. Someone who's deterministic thinking will think when they hear something like that, that makes sense. If I'm in the flow of the game, people can see I'm doing a better job, they'll kick me the ball. People who watch things like The Secret and things that are saying, oh, is there's magic going on out there, they will use that same level to say, you know what, I can see exactly why the universe would help me to make that thing happen. Doesn't matter what your beliefs are. The fact is that if you believe that at level 4, that when you get in flow, you're going to attract resources, great. Do it, and guess what? You start now spotting those resources when they get attracted. And most importantly, you now do the right things in the right step. At step 1, people might still say, I need the money before I can start a business. Whereas at step 4, people say, no, I need to get into flow in my game and start working with others who already have flow. I need to then basically take that flow, create my own flow, and eventually the money will come my way. And that's exactly how every great entrepreneur has done it. Level 4 is knowing resources come after flow, not before. And then after that, someone might say, what's the next level up? And level 5 is where we now say you don't just attract resources. At level 5, you now say you also attract your critical moments. Meaning that in a game of football, it's not the ball which is important when it comes to you. It's the moment at which it comes. You can start to control your own critical moments. You can start to say, wow, I can choose my luck. I could actually have a business where I know that by putting the right time into working with the right people in the right way is going to give me a result. I can't even imagine what that result is right now. I just know it's going to lead to a ball being kicked to me that I can't even imagine. And so you start acting in a different way. And what happens is we start to get a sixth sense, which is where we start to see that all the best opportunities come by our positioning, not by our chasing. And for anyone who believes that, you start to focus at that, that's exactly the payoff you get. Someone who doesn't believe that goes, don't believe that at all. I think it's just when a resource shows up, it shows up. When a ball gets kicked, it gets kicked. So I'll keep on just working at the game. You'll have your head down. You'll be going for it. You'll still be in your flow, which is great. But you certainly won't be operating at the level which allows you to create your own magic. And then you then say, what's number 6? And number 6 is when you say, actually, magic is not just for you to create. Magic, when you let it create itself, allows you to be able to create within your life a far bigger sense of who you are than by you just believing that it's up to you. You will find that anyone who is at a high level of focus and frequency within their flow is going to just take it for granted that just amazing things are going to happen every day. They wake up into the magic. Now, I know there's a whole bunch of people who says that sounds like flying pigs to me, ain't going for that one. Fine, go back one or go back to the one that you're comfortable with and just play that game, because there's still huge amounts of wealth dynamics value within that. But if you're willing to play that game, you're willing to accept that's possible, you start looking out for the signs, because those signs are actually there. And if you start to see those signs and that becomes your belief, then you're going to start opening yourself up to an entirely different life. That's the potential behind it. But it's up to you to decide whether that's something which you or others see as your truth. And then the final one, the seventh one is where we say, and when you actually start experiencing that magic externally, when you actually start getting into the level of flow where everything tunes into you, that's where out pops your fortune. Out pops the purpose of why you're even here on this planet. That happened to me. And if people look back and say, well, mathematically, could you have figured out that would have happened? I don't know. But I know that it was when I was totally in my flow that I had that opportunity, sitting there in a little cafe in Singapore, watching the world go by and realizing why I was here on this planet, what I was here for. That could not have happened without the flow that had taken place beforehand to actually even get me to that place. It was that moment in time where you say, this is why I'm here, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing, that we all have a fortune. Fortune is your wealth. Fortune is your destiny. Fortune is also your luck. And fortune itself, which comes from the Greek goddess Fortuna, is about the goddess of luck. It's about how when we open ourselves up to something far bigger, which only happens by stepping through these steps, through these truths, we ourselves can see that we're actually here on this world for a bigger reason as well. Might be a bit high to digest. Might say, I'm not willing to suggest that. I'm not going to go for that. I'm going to go and figure it out for myself down here. But the bottom line is, by knowing these 7, you can navigate yourself through life and know that every one of these truths is absolutely legitimate. And that within ourselves, we have the entire spectrum. And the friends we have and the friends around us also have that entire spectrum. So choose your level of truth. Be clear what the level of truth others are as well. Don't try and get them to change theirs. Just know that wealth dynamics applies to every one of them and will give you a payoff at whichever level you choose to play.